So here we are cruising along on the Isle Ball Plain. We're coming up to WA. We've got 17 k's to the border, or to Border Village at least. We can charge it at the Border Village if we want to, but Mundrabillia Roadhouse is just a little bit further up the road, and the prediction from the computer says we'll be at -2 when we get there. I don't quite believe that, because I don't think it takes into account the fact we're going to get a little bit more as we go down the escarpment. Abigail's been driving over here. We're just sort of chilling, taking in the scenery. So we've been averaging a fairly decent number here for the last 10 k's, 25, 50 k's. So you can see what our average consumption is. Over here we've got, let's give that a bit of a wipe. Over here we've got our current drive here. So since we stopped and had a look at the cliffs back the way, we've used 184 watt hours per kilometre, and since we last charged, which was this morning, it's 188. So that's how much we've been using. We can work that out from there, what our range is going to be, if you're assuming sort of flat ground. But what we've decided we're going to do when we get to the Border Village is we're probably going to, well, we both want to have a bit of a rest stop anyway. So what we'll do is we'll pull up, we'll plug the car into the caravan, and that 15 minutes that it takes us to go to the loo, we'll put in 3 or 4% from the caravan. That might be enough. While we're there, we're going to have a chat to the folks in here, because just down the road is Eucla, and there's an old telegraph station down here that we'd like to come and have a look at. So I'm just going to have a chat to them about whether it's worth that or not, because sometimes it's out of the sand, sometimes it's in the sand. If it's out of the sand, then we'll drive down here, plug the car into the caravan, and while we walk out to the sand dunes, then we might even end up with plus 20% in the car, which will easily get us to Mundrabillia. At which point we charge up and move on, because they've got a nice 3-phase power plant at Mundrabillia. Anyway, there you go. So here we are at Border Village. We've just gone in and we've got ourselves a drink, done our ablutions, and we had the car charging from the van, and we've now got estimated of 1% when we get to Mundrabillia. I think we dropped in about 3%, 4%, 3%. I think I can't actually remember what it was when we got here, but yeah. So there you go. We'll head down the hill to Eucla and see what we've got there, and go for a bit of a walk probably. Yeah, so here we are at the car park for the old Eucla telegraph station. The car's a bit more upset than it was last time you saw it, because it now reckons we're at -4 when we get to Mundrabillia. That's because it's about 10 k's round trip into this, where we are and back. Strangely, the fellas that we were drinking with last night are parked right behind us, so we'll probably meet them down there. Anyway, I'm about to plug the car into the van and put on some sunscreen. We'll go for a walk, and hopefully we'll get some good photography. All right, cheers folks, bye. I probably should say too that when we're plugging in just into the caravan without a caravan park socket, I'm dialing this down to 20 amps in here, just so that we don't overload the inverter. Okay, so here we are at the old telegraph station at Eucla. We've been down to the ruins and checked those out, and went down to the beach and checked out the old jetty, and had a bit of a swim. Didn't take our bathers, but that's all right. There was not terribly many people there, so undies are all right. In the meantime, the car's added about 6 kilowatt hours. I think there it is, about 6 kilowatt hours, which is about near enough 12%. State of charge reckons we're going to rock up at Mundrabillia with about 6% now, which is plenty. In the meantime, the caravan's depleted about 50% of its battery. There's still half a caravan's worth of battery left in there, and the solar panels are chucking in just over 600 watts, 620, 630, something to that effect. So yeah, we'll unplug and head off to Mundrabillia. All right, so here we are at the top of the Eucla Pass. We're about to head down. I've just looked up a couple of things for you folks. So we've got a remaining charge of 18.9 kilowatt hours. That's what's in the battery. The car keeps a buffer of 2.3 kilowatt hours. So when this is saying 0%, there's actually 2.3 kilowatt hours left. But probably don't really want to dip into that too much. That means we've got 16.6 available to get us to Mundrabillia, which is 65 kilometres away. So basically we go 16.6 divided by 65 gives us 255 watt hours per kilometre. So as we drive along, we're just going to make sure that this number down here stays below 255. Now that'll vary. It'll go up and it'll go down, depending on how hard the air conditioner is working or what have you, and it varies along, you know, whether we're going up and down hills. So this is where we went down Madura Pass. Not Madura Pass. This is where we went down down the hill to the old telegraph station, and that's where we just climbed back up the old telegraph station. We've used a heap more. You see that on the way down we actually gained a bit of extra charge. Anyway, so let's roll on. Yeah, rightio. So we've just got to the bottom of the pass, and in the meantime we've turned on the aircon and it's only cranking up, but we've actually used a negative 13 watt hours per kilometre because we actually made power as we went down the hill. So that's what the green is going on here. So we're just going to speed up now until that gets to about 255, because it's pretty well flat between here and Mundrabillia. And yeah, my guess is we're going to be doing 100 k's an hour because we're in WA now and that's all we can do. Okay, so this little bit at the start of the graph is where we've gone down the Eucla Pass, and the air conditioner was kicking in and all that sort of stuff. So this bit at the start here, we're kind of going to ignore that. We're going to drive along for a little bit longer, and this average here, I'm going to try and keep that under the 255 or thereabouts, and make sure that my little dot over here is below that number, so that my overall average for the drive is less than the number I said earlier, 255. At the moment you can see we're doing 196, and we're actually doing 238 since we charged up down at the Eucla station. So I'm just slowly increasing my speed to make sure that I stay under that range number and get there nice and easily. Alright, so we've moved on the road a little bit further. We're heading across the plain, as you can see, my line's nice and flat, as we sort of expected, because we're nice and level. This little lump on the end here is where I accelerated up to 100 k's an hour. So we've used a bit of extra energy to get there, to get up to 100, and then we've been using, well, somewhere around about 230 watt hours per kilometre. Since we took off, we've been using 214. We're sitting at 100 k's an hour. We're not going to be metering into zero because we're going to arrive with, I don't know, a few percent. Yeah, it's basically we just track that and make sure it doesn't get too high. We're just going up a little bit of a rise at the moment. That's why it's above the line. On the others, zoom out a bit. As we get over this rise, it'll lower down again, and yeah, away we go. Alright, here we are. We're just about to pull into Mundrabillia. We've got here with 4% left in of our charge, so that, you know, that's fine. That's plenty. I've basically just been tracking this little white dot to make sure that it stays in the right sort of range. We've been using 225 watt hours per kilometre since we left the top of the Eucla Pass, which is plenty good. I can switch this over to show the predicted versus actual range as well. We tend to ignore that a little bit because I don't find it super reliable when we're towing the caravan along with us. But yeah, this thing, if we're just driving the car, is quite accurate a lot of the time. It gives you tips on how to improve your range or what you're doing wrong. So yeah, here we are. Welcome to Mundrabillla. If memory serves, I've got to go around the back, around the other side of the servo, and there's now a DC charger there, so that'll be fun. Alright, just to finish off this little video, we're now plugged into 20 kilowatt charging at Mundrabillla. Car's charging up. I've deliberately parked the van such that the solar panels are in the sun, and they're going to stay in the sun for a little while. That way the van will be a bit fuller when by the time we leave. Over the back here, just out of curiosity, there's a whole bank of solar panels up there. So that's what we're charging our car off of. I believe they run off a genset over the evening, but that's what's keeping it going now.